And welcome back, footy fans, to another episode of Donnie's Disposals. I am your host, Coach Donnie Hess here, back with another AFL round review. We are through 5 rounds of footy. Damn it, 12 rounds can go so quickly when you're having so much fun. And this week we were treated to an incredibly interesting, crazy, nuts, so many different words that I can't think of right now. Round of footy. And joining me today, a very good friend, somebody I love talking footy, a legend in sample footy, the coach of the Woodville West Torrens women's team this year, the minor premiers. A soft round of applause for her there. Miss Narelle Smith. Coach, it is great to see you again.
How are you, Coach? You well?
I am not doing too bad, not doing too bad. My The fun part about this time of year, there's so much great footy to watch, whether it's men's championships, the women are
Mhm.
they're getting to the thick of the season. We're 5 games
Yeah.
in. We're starting to see this league kind of balance out this week through a few
Yeah.
spanners in the works. So I know a few
Mhm.
people are kind of, but it is so much fun. I'm enjoying it so much. Let's not waste any more time. Let's jump right to it, Coach. Thoughts on this interesting round five in the W?
Yeah, well, probably everyone thought the Swannies might, touch up the Pies at Vic Park, but the Pies came out screaming, didn't they? And that their ball movement was outstanding, and the Swans looked a bit shell shocked. And by the time they, took a little bit of a hold and got themselves some offensive movement, the game was already done. So that was pretty much a shock. I think the Carlton, I've been really impressed with Carlton.
Mm-hmm.
They've got a big test this week against the Raging Roos, but they were pretty good. And yeah, Port and D's was a funny one. The D's were coming in hot, and Port managed to hang on. But when you kick 5-11, um, the D's will kick themselves about that, the one that got away, but take nothing away from Port. They were pretty good. And St Kilda, I mean, I think they're a tipper's nightmare, to be honest. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, um, they went one round one, and then they kind of went a bit quiet, and then they came out firing on the weekend. And um, Crows are always around the mark, but
Yep.
I think it felt like a bit of a soft win for the Crows, and that they were in control all day, even when they lost Gould with that wrist injury. Um, and I was intrigued by the North Brisbane game.
Mm-hmm.
Intrigued by that, whether because I thought the Lions were pretty lucky against the Crows the week before. They kind of fell across the line, and the Crows were the better side all day, and but North just gave them a lesson, didn't they? And yeah, West Coast. So I think we'll see that where young players. Daisy's done an amazing job, and she's really investing in youth and giving them a run, and they're repaying her in spades, but they just kind of. It was tough conditions with
Yep.
the weather at Freo, and Freo were really well drilled, and just starting to find their straps. So that one, was that a surprise? I don't think so. Like, I think it was always going to be close, but yeah, it was a great round of footy.
Yeah, it was incredible. So many different results. We'll go through one by one. I know you did a pretty good review there, but let's go through each of these games. Let's go to the one, like I said, off the bat. I mean, as the Swans fan that everybody knows,
Yeah,
as I was telling Narelle off mic, this was a game that terrifies me because when everybody says, "Well, Sydney's going to win this is a winnable game," and I even heard it on some of the Swans podcasts I listened to, this they were almost kind of overlapping this pies, and this terrifies me because sometimes a team like Collingwood that's been plucky, they've been pesky, they've been tough, they compete, whether they have this overall talent to beat some
mm,
teams, but also, as we kind of talked about off mic, Jordy Allen's back. Ruby
yeah,
Schleicher is back. Lauren
mhm,
Butler's starting to find her form. I think
mhm,
Ascentra is starting to get more comfortable in her
mhm,
own skin playing. And you could tell that this Collingwood Magpies team, they came out, they punched Sydney in the mouth, and Sydney
yeah,
kind of went, I'm not sure if I want to do it. And it was very frustrating as a Swans fans because as
yeah,
I said a few times online, they looked slow, they looked
yeah,
indecisive, and they looked
mhm,
disorganized. It was almost like Collingwood caught them by surprise. Again,
yeah,
Scotty Gowans, I know he'll get the girls going, they'll be fine, but was a little terrifying to watch this game as a Swans fan, purely on the fact that it looked like Collingwood surprised them with what they would bring. Again, I want to take nothing away from Collingwood. Ruby Slicer looked fantastic. Ash Centra looked
Mhm,
fantastic. Lauren Butler in that
mhm,
defensive line, the former SANFLW player Lucy Cronin looked incredibly good.
mhm.
So many young players for this Pies team. Again, they're growing, they're getting together. This is not the spoon pies from last year. Okay, this is not. This is a
Yeah.
pretty darn talented team. That's just they've
Mm,
run into some injuries and some key players.
mhm.
Now that they're healthy, now they're I think they're going to stun a few people. I don't think this is
Yeah.
the last shocker we're going to see from the Pies this year. Again, all love to the Pies. Again, I'm
Mm,
not sitting here panicking about Sydney, but it did show me a few worrying signs. And again, was the start of the season kind of a soft draw a little bit? I don't know. I don't
mhm.
think Fremantle is that bad. I think they
No,
found
I
a way
agree.
to beat them. Let's see how they do in the Sydney Derby this week. Do they get a bounce back or do we have a repeat? If we have a repeat, then we could have a trend, which is a little
Yeah.
terrifying for me. But again, all love to the Pies. Congratulations to the Pies in that one. Get their first win of the season. Britt Benici was incredible through the middle. She was a thorn in Sydney's side the entire day. Love, like I
Mhm,
said, love seeing Ash Centra be who she is. She did what she
mhm.
needed to do. Cannot wait to see her when she really opens up. Cannot wait. It's going to be so much fun. Let's move
Mhm,
on. Icon Park, where the darlings of this particular season, let's just be honest, nobody saw this coming. Every expert that I saw did not see this coming. The
mhm.
Carlton Blues get another impressive win, 71-25, a 46-point win. The Blues have one loss on the season, and they are playing some incredibly good football.
Yeah, they certainly are. I'm not really that surprised. I think they've recruited really well. Um, I've got a really close friend that coaches at Carlton, and speaking to her prior to the season, she was really confident that they changed a few things in their high performance space, and so I'm not surprised about that at all. I think it's well overdue, to be honest. Like you've always
Mhm.
thought that they were around the mark. And, some of their kids, Keki, oh,
Mhm.
gee whiz, she's one of my favourite players in AFLW. Um, and, they're just starting to find the right players in the right areas. And, probably for the coach, Bucky, it's taken him a little while, but they look really settled, and I can't wait to see them play North. That'll be the
Mhm.
test.
Yeah, seeing Brian Harrington getting back to her dominant, great rucking is fantastic. Seeing the young McKay, as Sophie McKay playing really good football, so much
Mhm.
fun. Darcy Vesio going back and playing
Mm,
their role really well has
yeah,
been so
yeah.
incredible because I know a lot of people going into the season go, they're moving Darcy Vesio back. Is that their
Mm.
best spot for them?
Mhm,
And they've really found a way to, despite what they've done in this competition, the incredible performance that Darcy Vesio has done, for them to be able to be a team player, to move to a spot and to still make it their own is incredible. It is fantastic how well they're doing. Mimi Hill, incredible. Abby
mm,
McKay playing really, really well. Deanna Finn, the Irish
mhm,
woman, how
mhm,
good has she been? Like
mhm,
incredible seeing her running off the wing. So again, I'm my worry with them was terrible Hannon making them too tall, and they've
mhm.
found a way to make it work. I
Yeah.
think Tara Bohanna has actually fit really well. They found that great mix, and I agree. I think Coach Buck he's found
Yep.
that right little mix, and it's been incredible. Again, I agree with you. This is their litmus test against the mighty
Mhm,
Roos.
mhm,
You'll hear my opinions on that just here in a little bit when we get to the game against Brisbane. But I'm loving the Blues. They are entertaining. I agree with what Kate McCarthy says them and Sydney are two
yeah,
of the most entertaining teams. When they can play their football, they are two of the most
mm,
entertaining teams in the W to
mhm,
watch play. Let's go to South Australia, where my co-host is sitting, Alberton Oval, as we see another upset
mhm.
as a second
Yeah.
undefeated team goes down in less than three
Mhm,
games as the Power nip the mighty D's 43-41, and coach will
mhm.
bring out the old adage. bad kicking is bad football.
Yeah, I had a bit of a look. They kick like Melbourne kick 4 points Q1, 4 points Q2, no points Q3, and 3 points Q4, and that is not ideal. So, and that starts to get in the head of the players. But take nothing away from Port, like the
Yep.
way they attacked the goals. They took their opportunities in front of goal, and they had some classy finishes. And Houghton was a handful. Even Justine Mills was, zipping around. She's always a bit of a pest, and their kids are just really starting to find their straps. So
Yep.
yeah, they were. It was good to see them get that win.
Well, and I got to give some love. Indy Tahu has been moved
Oh
forward over the
yeah.
last couple of weeks and is finding her goal kicking thing. She
Mm,
did, and that's adding another, especially now that Ash Woodland has been moved to the middle. It's
mhm,
been incredible to see Indy
mm,
Tahu, who's
mm,
known for her defensive abilities, to be able to
mhm.
find the goals. And again, the
Yeah.
scary part about it is we as my coach and I were talking off mic is Lauren Young, the incredibly talented SANFLW girl, is still to
Mhm,
come in. Sounds like she will make this debut her debut very, very soon. And this is already a scary Port Adelaide team with one of the best rucks in Matilda Scholes, some
mhm,
incredibly young talent along this team. Big win. Kate Horrigan has a fantastic game for the D's. I league best and fairest right now. She is stapling
yeah,
herself as a favorite
for
in
sure.
that with what she keeps doing through the center, no matter where the coach need, no matter where Melbourne needs her to be, whether it's forward, whether it's through the middle, whether it's along the halfback line. Kate Hor is probably one of the most versatile players in the
Yes.
competition. She's incredible. Right now, the frustrating thing for me for Melbourne is I agree is the goal kicking inaccuracy for this for the weapons that they have.
Mm,
It's a little frustrating. They got to get that
yeah.
figured out because, and I know it's Kate, and I know sometimes kicking at Casey, but this was in Alberton, so it's very interesting to see how Melbourne kind of survives this. Again, all plaudits to Port. They played fantastic. They got the win, but Melbourne, you're going to get on them a little bit. A 2 point loss, and really so many behinds kicked that probably was the reason that they fell a little bit short. Let's go up to the nation's capital, up in Canberra, as the Giants
Mm.
thankfully get their first win of the season and
Mhm.
their first win in nearly a year as the
Yeah.
Giants beat the Doggies 50-29, a 21-point win. The joy on the Giants' faces is all
Mm,
I really want to talk about because I'm so happy for
mhm.
this team because they have dealt with blow after blow after blow.
Yeah.
Elise Parker goes
Yep.
down. I know Alicia Eva went down as well. They're fighting through it. This is a young side that they're I know that there was talk amongst the thing is that has Sydney's inclusion into the AFLW really hurt the Giants? I pointed out a couple of things online saying that honestly, a little bit is on their list management.
Mhm.
I'll give it that. But I think the national draft has started to reap some rewards for them. Caitlin
I
Surhoy, a
agree.
WA native, is now in Giants colors. I
Mhm.
think it'll eventually start to work out. The biggest thing, Courtney Raleigh, the young Victorian girl
Grace
who,
Martin.
yep, exactly. Grace Martin is there. I think they're building. Okay, her
Yeah, I agree.
Henny Zarica is out this year with pregnancy, so who knows when she'll be back. There's still some really good players, and again, losing one of your talismans in Elise Parker at the start of the year, that is a tough blow.
Mm,
But I got to give Cam Benisconi a little bit. He pulled a great one in this one. They looked fantastic. There's some confidence, and you get the Sydney Derby this week. It'll be very interesting to see how the Giants approach that. The Doggies, tough, gritty, young team.
mhm,
This is a tough one because they've played some good footy. They've played some better opponents really closely. This has got to be a frustrating one for the Doggies a little bit. But again, they're a young side. There's a lot of young talent in there. I know Elaine Grigg, the former SANFLW
mhm.
player, has looked
Yep.
incredible. SANFLW
Mhm.
wise, her tackling has been fantastic. Um, Isabel Pritchard's been playing some incredible
Yep. Nice.
football for them. So this was just one of those that it was a good story. I love seeing the Giants win again. I know I'm a Swans fan, but I've told many people when the Giants aren't playing the Swans, I will barrack for the Giants. I
Yeah.
love what they do. I had Alicia Eva on the podcast. She's
Mhm.
incredible with her time, incredible human being. So happy for the Giants. tough one for the Dogs, but like I said, you got to give it some love to the Giants. It was incredible to see them get a win after such a long time.
From my perspective, it looked like the Dogs were a little bit disconnected across their lines. Like they just couldn't quite connect coming out of the back, or when they went in their front half, and they played Ellie Blackburn deep. She had a few mid minutes, but they're obviously just trying a few new things, which I don't mind.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, they just they've got a lot of talent on their list, the doggies, and it might well be they just need a bit of a reset, and probably a connection piece is what I'd be looking for. But
Yeah.
GWS, I was very, very happy. Obviously, Grace Martin drafted from the Eagles, and I thought she's playing some really nice, impactful footy off the half back, and yeah, the kids playing nice. It's funny, sometimes when you lose a star or a senior player, like it just gives that opportunity for the kids to actually have a go, and maybe they rip the band-aid off and just started to play a little bit more of their footy without having to rely on always having Parker winning lots of possession in the middle. Someone else has to step up. So no, it was exciting, and I was just really pleased. And you're right, their reaction was one of the best that I've seen for a
Yeah,
while.
if you have a if you can't have a heart if you can't just see that and just
Yeah.
grin and seeing the joy on their face, and then Cam
Mm.
Benisconi almost getting into tears because he
Yeah.
was so happy for his girls
Yeah.
because he's
Yeah.
doing everything he can again. I will
Yeah.
never question a football club on whether they're trying to win football. I will never
Mm.
do that because I don't think that
Everyone's trying to win.
these are professionals. They're being
Yeah.
paid to win. They're never
Yeah.
going. I hate the word tanking. I think anybody that does should
Yeah.
be completely and absolutely eradicated from the game. I think
Mhm.
tanking is one of the worst things ever. Play the game of football to the best of your
Yeah.
ability. If you don't have enough talent, that's fine. That's what the draft and free agency is there for.
Correct. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
don't complain about that. I've seen way too much of the sooking and whinging from people in the men's game that, well, we don't get this. Well, do better. That's on
Yeah.
you. That's not on the rest of the competition to make it
Yeah.
out to you. That's on you.
Yeah, for sure.
I won't go into specific details on that, but no, like I said, so happy for the Giants again, and it makes the Sydney Derby this week quite intriguing, which
Oh,
I
it's
always
gonna be a
love.
cracker.
Oh, it's going to be fantastic. Cannot wait. Henson Park is going to be incredible. Cannot wait for that.
Yeah.
So let's go to
Yeah.
Windy Hill, where, Coach, we kind of said it
Ooh,
earlier. These are two super Jekyll and Hyde teams for us this year.
yes.
Essendon Bombers start out fantastic and have careened and nosedived towards the ground. And the Saints have been kind of
Yeah.
up and
Yeah.
down because they started the
Mm.
season off, some people could say, a fluke against the Adelaide Crows. I don't think it was a
Mm.
fluke. I honestly think the Crows took them lightly. This is a
Mm.
good Saints team.
Mhm.
Jesse Wardlaw needs to be
Mm.
forward. Stop playing
Mhm.
her in the ruck. I know you want to get her around the football, but she is
Yeah.
one of the
Yeah.
best forwards in the game. Leave her
Agreed.
forward. Come
Mm.
on, Nick Del Santo. I know you played good as men's footy, but come on, you're screwing your team so much by moving Jesse around. I know you want to get her around the football. Leave her at forward, and she does things like this as the Saints get a
Mhm.
win by 52 points, 60 to 8. Ah, again,
They
the
were
Jekyll,
relentless, weren't they? They were
they were
unbelievable.
incredible.
Yeah.
But I'm so frustrated with this Bombers team because they look
Yeah.
so good to start the season. Again, maybe
Mm.
it was a little bit of their draw. They had some opponents that they should beat.
Mhm. Mhm.
But again, when you put again, and I know its names on paper, which you can never
Yeah.
never go off that because that's the way football, even football, every sport is that way. But when you've got two good, you've got Prosparkus, you've got G, you've got Alexander, you've got some of the incredible. Georgia Nanscon has been incredible for them this year.
Mhm. Agreed.
8 points, that is poor, and I hate saying that for a women's team.
Mm.
And again, and I
True.
know that the the knuckle draggers online, look, we were saying it the entire time, women. No, like, this has nothing to do with that. Purely and
Yeah.
simply, this is
Yeah.
unacceptable for a professional team with the talent that Essendon has.
Yep.
That is unacceptable. Now, I will give some plaudits to St. Kilda's defense. They were incredible.
Yeah.
They played fantastic. Serene Watson, in my opinion, is one of the best defenders in the entire competition. One of my
Mhm.
favorites to watch. Seeing
Mhm.
Bianca Jacobson back finally after being
Mhm.
sat through the first couple of games again
Mhm.
makes me wonder what was going on there. Love the
Mm.
Saints to death. Want them to play better. I think they've got an incredible list. So many young, incredible talents. Patricios, Tanya Smith. I already said Wardlaw. You have some great players on this list. Again, Serene Watson, one of my favorites. This was an interesting game. Saints just too good, but man, the Bombers are disappointing.
They also had Nicola Barr come back in. She's a really key piece
Yep.
because, she frees up, like in the mid, or she can play wing, or which can play anywhere really. She's
Yep.
a really good player. And, it just feels like they got a couple of players back that really made a difference for them. And the biggest worry for the Dons is like they didn't even look like scoring. Like normally Bonnie Too Good will cause havoc up front, and
Mhm.
Press Barkers, and Nansgord to a certain degree will, create scoring opportunities and stuff, but it just they didn't even look like they were going to score. So, hopefully they just reset really quickly and really try to work on, some meaningful entries and, just creating those opportunities.
It's been very interesting for them. Like I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. I'm like I said, I hope
Mm,
we get the reset because again, they've got some incredible talents on that roster that
mm,
8 points is very disappointing.
yeah,
Again, I'm
yeah,
not having a go at Essendon, but it's disappointing to see 8 points again because I think there's too
yeah.
much talent on that team to only put up
Hmm.
8 points.
I
Like,
agree.
I think Sophie Alexander kicking their one and only goal of the game was, I mean,
Yeah.
they're lucky they got that one. And I
Mm,
hate, again, don't want to say that. I don't want to say that, but I have to be
mm,
honest when it comes to
yeah,
my analysis of the game. So let's go down Icon Park, Richmond's home away from home with everything happening with Punt Road as they take on the Cats, and
yeah.
the Cats get an impressive 30 point win,
Mm,
59-29. I hate starting off with the negative, but God, is it gutting to see Montana McKinnon come back, play really well, and then another knee injury. Unfortunately, it is gutting to
yeah,
see this young, super talented ruck just can't get on the park. She's got to get her body right, and another blow,
yeah.
and a blow to a
Oh,
Richmond team that really can't afford to take any more blows.
Oh, look, to say that they need her to, get some real quality type midfield stoppage CB actually going their way, like which is, really evident that they're lacking that, offensive off the ruck hands and stuff like that. So, no, devastating for her. She'll obviously reset and go again. But I mean, I think, Richmond are just really struggling, aren't they? They just,
Hmm.
you know, they're just struggling in all parts of the ground at the moment, and they've just re-signed their coach for. I think he got another 12-month contract. I think so, or 2 years. I'm not sure. But they just really need to pull their fingers out for me, and
Hmm.
just start to win the contested ball. I think they're just getting beaten up around the ball all the time, and when they can't get their hands on it, they can't do anything with it. So, Monty would have been a classic to start to build that confidence around the footy. But yeah, it's just a real worry. You just go, who are they actually going to be?
Yeah, it's scary to say. You look at that roster, and you go, there's some incredible talents. Mon Conti has been a
Mm,
best and fairest in the entire
mm.
competition. I think Ellie McKenzie was a number
Oh
one
yeah.
overall pick. And she's shown flashes of why she was number one overall. You brought in Grace Egan, who I think was your defensive style. And right
Yeah.
now, that three-headed monster is not working. Now, is it a little bit because of the lack of being able to get the first hands on the football due to ruck dominance?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I think that's one of the reasons. But then the other issue you run into is that it's getting out through the center a little too easy for me.
Yeah.
Defensively, I don't think they're too bad. I think Gab Seymour has shifted back, played really, really well. It's just the issue is Beck Miller can only do so much by
Mm-hmm.
herself, really, when it comes to it. It's constantly coming in there. They're getting it out occasionally. Katie Brennan not being healthy doesn't help when they go forward because it doesn't give them that talisman forward.
Yeah.
Amelia Sear has been a little bit down compared to years before. It's just not clicking in the ways that it
Mm.
has. Now, I want to give some love to the Cats because the Cats are one of those teams that I think they're another one a lot like Fremantle. I think
Yeah.
they're too good for where they are record wise.
I agree.
But it's because of the way the competition is. With a 12-game season, it literally is a sprint. You
Mm,
can't afford to lose the first three
mhm,
games of the season.
mhm,
Now, they played some of the best teams in the league for
mhm,
the first three games. Adelaide, North, Sydney were their first
mhm,
three games. That's a tough
mm,
draw. Georgie
mm,
Pasparkas has been incredible. Jackie Perry has been fantastic up forward.
mhm,
Aisling
mhm,
Maloney, one of the best Irish players, has a chance to be the leading goal kicker this year.
mhm,
Incredible.
mhm,
Loving Michaela Bowen. It has been incredible.
mhm.
It's
Yeah.
interesting to see Amy McDonald is down this year, but
Mhm.
Geelong is still playing really good football. Claudia
Nina
Gonzaka has
Morrison.
Nina Morrison has been fantastic. Claudia Gonzaka down back has been
Mhm.
incredible. The fact that they were able to drop Meg McDonald, who's one of the
Yeah.
best defenders, and still play good football. Again, I
Mhm.
feel for Meg because she's one of my favorites. She's just a salt of
Mhm.
the earth player. She gets
Mhm.
it done. She's not a flashy player when it comes to it. It was
Mhm.
gutting for me to see her dropped, but
Mhm.
sometimes you got to make those tough moves. I know as somebody, I know it's not easy sometimes when you have to drop a player like that
Mhm.
because you need to send a message to the group. Nobody is your spot is not guaranteed. Nobody is safe. You have to
Yeah.
earn your spot. It is not given. Loving the
Yeah.
Cats. Again, I really worry this is a Cats team. I think they're a finals team, but they may not
Mhm.
make finals because of their fixture, and it's gutting. It's a lot like Fremantle. I think Fremantle may run into the
Mhm.
same problem. They're probably
Mhm.
going to be better than a team that makes the finals, but because they
Yep.
only play 12
Mhm.
opponents, you
Mhm.
don't play everybody. It's going to
Yep.
hurt them
And
because
yeah.
they played some of the better teams.
Well, and the thing with the Cats is the big name that is missing is Chloe Shear.
Yep.
Obviously, heading into her second season with injury and not getting in. And then, if you throw Chloe Shear in the mix there, it frees up Maloney, it frees up Parry,
Mm-hmm.
so their scoring power becomes like higher. Um, and the thing with the Cats that I've noticed with all of those first three games was they're in the game for the first half,
Yep.
and then they just slowly petered away. So and you just got to question: is that fitness? Is that high performance? Are they
Mm-hmm.
like because those other teams are seasoned campaigners that have big bodies and they just tend to overrun them, and that's kind of the theme that I was seeing with the Cats. But what they're doing when they're on fire is just electric, and they
Yep.
match it with anyone. So
Yep.
yeah, it'd be nice to see Chloe Shear out there running around for sure.
Yeah, it's scary to think that they're already a pretty potent offensive team with Jackie Perry and Aisling Maloney. Think
Mm,
about it when you add Chloe Shear because now it makes teams who do we put our best defender on?
correct.
Because if you have a
Yep.
tall defender, okay, do they take Jackie Perry? Because then
Yep.
Aisling Maloney gets a leave. Well, if you
Hmm.
move her to Aisling Maloney, then Jackie Perry gets free. And
Yep.
then you add the fact that Chloe Shear can sometimes drag the best defender, which
Hmm.
then would only allow Jackie Perry and Aisling Maloney more space. So
Correct.
it's a
Correct.
scary thing to think that this
Yeah.
Cats team could get even better when you get Chloe Shear. Whether you'll get her this year, I don't like the talk out of Geelong. I
Yeah.
don't see her getting back this year, which is
So sad.
disappointing.
Oh.
But here's what I'll say this is that if they don't make finals again this year,
Mm,
okay, it'll give them a little bit easier draw next year. And then if you get Chloe back, you can keep Jackie and Aisling.
yeah.
Holy crap, does that make Geelong deadly next year? And again, I don't want to go into next year. I know we're only 5 games in, but if I'm a Cat supporter, you have to look at it as is that maybe, just maybe, that might be the best option because it'll give you your full squad if you can get Chloe
Yeah.
Shear healthy again. I only want
Yeah.
Chloe Shear healthy because she's an incredible footballer, so
Oh.
talented, so much fun to watch. I know when
Yeah.
I had a chat with Brianna Tarrant one time, she said Chloe
Hmm.
Shear, the forward that she is one of the most difficult to stop because
Hmm.
she doesn't sit still. She may not be the tallest, but she's quick as a
Yeah.
hiccup. She's
Yeah.
really good at reading the football and incredibly strong lower
Mm-hmm.
body. So she's
Yeah.
incredibly difficult to get under the football. So
Yeah.
no, I
Correct.
love the Cats. Again, I hope the Tigers get a win. I never like seeing a team go undefeated. Maybe it's a little bit of, I experienced a W season where my team didn't win. I
Hmm.
want the Tigers to win.
Yeah.
But right now, I'm having trouble seeing too many teams on
Oh,
their fixture that they're going to be able to beat, unfortunately. So
yeah,
let's move
it's
to
going to
it. One of the most interesting, one of the best views in women's footy, Kinetic Stadium in Frankston in Victoria, as the
be. Hmm.
Crows beat the Hawks
Hmm.
48-27. Loving seeing the Crows playing some great football. The Hawks are an interesting case study for
Mm.
me because this is a
Hmm.
team last year that absolutely lit the competition on fire.
Hmm.
And I'm starting to kind of agree with some of the experts. They are really, really missing Aileen Gilroy.
Oh, massively. Like, and her goal celebrations, by the way, because she had one of the best.
Hmm.
Um, yeah,
An
that's,
Irish woman with some great celebrations. That's not
yeah,
something you see
it's
very
so
often
cool.
because they're
So
very, very
cool.
reserved many times.
Yeah, no, they definitely just they're lacking something, aren't they? Like, and
And it feels
if
like it's
that is,
her. It really does.
yeah,
It
oh,
really
it
feels like
does, it does.
she is that connector piece
Yeah,
because she really is that great utility because you can put her off halfback because she runs
yep,
really well. Like most of the Irish players, really good speed,
yeah,
really good with
yeah,
footy in hand, usually makes the right decision. And then going forward, her ability to kick the ball from any angle and have it go between the big sticks is incredibly dangerous because it only opens up Anya McDonough.
yep,
It lets Casey Sheriff move
yep,
around the ground a little bit. It frees up all of that space for the
yep,
forwards because she's so incredibly quick. You have to put one of your best defenders on her. And you're seeing that wave its ugly head. Again, this is a very good Crows team, but I kind of agree with what you said off mic. I don't know if they really got out of third gear in this game and still won it by 21.
yeah. I the Gilroy piece is probably you bang on with that because she's that high half forward connector
Hmm.
that, she gets up and because she's got such a big tank and, like, I think last year did she have 3 goals in goals of the year or
I think
2?
so. Or it was at
Yeah.
least two. It was at least two
It
because it
was it
seemed
was
like she was
2.
always around there.
And I go, so she can snap, she can kick long, she can run, she can do everything. And, and I think the thing with AFLW in particular at the moment is, the men can have, you know, three or four dominant players. But in women's, if you have one really, really dominant player like
Mhm.
Gilroy, then that can bring a whole team and turn the game on a dime. Um, so yeah, you're probably right. That is the key missing piece, and yeah, they just don't seem to be firing as much they did. Is it a legacy from the prelim fail against Port last year? Maybe a bit of mindset piece,
And a little bit of
because
fixture difficulty too. I think their fixture
Richard,
difficulty
yeah,
this year is a little
yeah,
bit higher, so
yeah,
I also think
yeah,
that isn't helping. But
yeah,
there's just even in their games when they're playing teams like when they played the Western Bulldogs, and again, I know
mhm,
the conditions were crap, but
yeah,
they just did not have that fire and that
mm,
firepower and that ability
mhm,
going forward that they had the season
mm,
before. And the
mm,
biggest missing piece is Aileen Gilroy. Like
mm,
that's
mhm,
you can't
yeah,
say it anything other than that. The rest of their squad is there. Casey Sheriff
yeah,
is back where she wasn't, where she
yeah,
missed a good portion of
yes,
last year with
yeah,
her injury. So I'm
yeah,
looking at it going, the one missing piece throughout it all is Aileen Gilroy. And if you really look at
mhm,
how what she did is she'd get 2 goals a game. And I think that
yeah,
would open up Anya McDonough for having the season that
yeah,
she had last
correct,
year. And
correct.
she's struggling this year because she's getting more
Struggling.
defensive pressure and
Yes, agreed,
she's also been
agreed.
inaccurate too. That isn't
Yeah,
helping either. She was usually pretty
yeah,
accurate last year. This year she's been a little bit wayward on goal. Now, we've talked a lot of negative for Hawthorn. Eloise
mhm,
Jones coming back from her ACL, she's looked fantastic, especially with Caitlin Gould going down with that nasty wrist
mhm,
injury again. I'm sending
mhm,
positive vibes to her that the
mhm,
recovery is quick. The word I'm hearing is not good, that she's probably done for the year, which will hurt
mhm,
Adelaide. We'll have to see how they approach that again. Having Chelsea
mhm,
Randall and some of the key pieces
mhm,
that they have there, I think they can make up for that loss. But that is a
mhm,
loss because Caitlin is that talisman, that full forward that can get that big fullback, which will open up your Eloise
Mhm.
Jones, Chelsea Randall when she goes forward, your Ann Hatchard who went forward, who also I'll give Ann Hatchard her plaudits and flowers for this one, an incredible performance there. Nafi is Nafi. I mean, she's gonna get her 30 and 15 and 10 clearances. She's just incredible. I cannot not.
Mhm.
I love Nafi to death because she's so humble about it and just an
Mhm.
incredible player. She does everything that you want in the midfield. Absolutely love her to death. The
Mhm.
Crows defense, Chelsea Bedell, again, incredible.
Mhm.
Loving the Crows. I think they're starting to find their groove. Had a few
Yeah.
bumps at the early part of the year, but they're starting to
Mhm.
find their groove. Again, the Lions, I think the way the Lions are built, I think is the reason why they keep dropping games because the Lions are
Mhm.
built for speed and run and
Mhm.
they want it. They're the little energizer bunnies. They're kind of like cockroaches. You turn the lights, you try to hit them and they just keep getting away. Where the Crows are a little bit more of a contested, they're a big body team a little bit more. So sometimes I think that's the reason why the Lions get them a little bit. So them
Mhm.
beating the Hawks, who I think are just the mini-me's of the Lions, they still haven't
Mhm.
figured it full out
Yeah, I
yet.
agree. Yep.
It's a
Yep.
big win for them because I think it gives them some confidence.
Yeah.
And going
Yeah. For
into some of their tougher games as the season goes on, again, I never doubt the Crows. Coach,
sure.
their coach is incredible. Last season, you know the
Mhm.
girls are going to go full out on it. They're going to be
Mhm.
fun again. The Crows are one of the most consistent teams in this entire competition the entire time it has been
Mhm.
there. I never worry about them early in the year. Same thing, the reason why I don't worry about Brisbane because they're
Mhm.
so good. They'll make
Yeah.
up for it. Unlike a team like a Hawthorn or an Essendon or a Geelong, where you lose early, it can really rattle them. Adelaide, Brisbane, not so much. They kind of go, we've been here before, we've done it. Well, we're
Yeah.
good, we're good.
Yeah.
So again, Crows, they did what they needed to do. Was it the most impressive win? Absolutely not. But
Mm.
they get the 4 points, they get it
Mhm.
on the road, and they build towards later on in the year. So again,
Mhm.
Crows, fantastic. Hawks,
Absolutely.
I'm hoping Aileen Gilroy is back soon because I want to
Yeah.
see Hawk ball in the W
Yeah.
like we saw it last year. Right now, it's just not firing. I think
Yeah.
it's sad for the competition because they were so entertaining. And
Oh,
Emily
yeah.
Bates being
100%.
as raw and honest as she was after that doggies game, we're not playing the
Mm.
footy we want to play. I love that. Be
Oh my God, I
honest,
loved it.
be
Loved
straight,
it.
tell people because I don't think these girls want to play 16, 14 games. They want to play 60s, 70s
Yeah.
scoring football. They want to.
Yeah.
Sometimes it just doesn't happen. So we'll go to
Yeah.
that. Let's go to the big one. Brighton Homes Arena up in Queensland as the Roos continue to ravage this
It's like,
competition.
wow. Yeah.
29-point win, 65-36. Coach, I
Mm.
love the Brisbane Lions. I think they're an incredible team. North literally took them over their knee like a redheaded stepchild and
Mhm.
spanked them.
Mhm.
It is scary to see this
Yeah.
team because
Mm.
they were already really good last year. Okay.
Yeah.
No right out back. She's out for personal reasons.
Mhm.
Elise Sharon steps in. I'm
Mhm.
still trying to figure out why Richmond traded her. I'm sitting here going on trade night when that trade happened. I went, why
Yeah.
Richmond?
Yeah.
Why? Because this
Yeah.
is already a really good North team. Damn it, Jazzy Garner. Will she ever win a BNF? Because she's one of the best players in this competition. Now,
Mm.
she's got Ash Riddell. She's got Emma Carney. She's got
Mhm.
some of the incredible talents on her team. Will she ever win a BNF? I don't think so because of the team she's built. It's a lot like Marcus Bontempelli in the men's. I don't think he'll ever win a
Mm.
BNF because
Mm.
he's got guys around him that are just as good. I
Mm.
think that's what'll happen there. Jazzy Garner was incredible. Okay. Emma
Mhm.
Carney, great seeing her back. Love seeing
Yeah.
her. Don't want her to retire. I know it's probably closer to the end than the beginning, but I love seeing Emma Carney playing great football. She's just an incredible legend of the game. So great to see her playing
Mhm.
footy, playing good footy. Elise
Mhm.
Sharon. And then I think the talk of the North Melbourne team is the new Irish recruit, Blaine Bogue. Oh my, who would have thought? This Irish recruit comes in and has now become one of the best goal scorers in the entire competition.
North keep finding him, don't they? They, as an expansion team, they were incredibly aggressive setting up that first list, and I feel like there was a little bit of chitter chatter about that when that first happened when they came in
Hmm.
as an expansion, and but gee whiz, they've just built on that, and their list has just continued to build and get stronger and stronger. And it's hard to see who's going to beat them. To be honest,
Mhm.
it's the flip side of Richmond. Who's Richmond going to beat? Who's going to beat North? And I don't know who is.
I said it last week. Half their squad, they either have to have half their squad go down with injury, or
Hmm.
every single player
No,
on the
they don't.
team has to have their worst possible game right now for them to
Yeah,
lose because they are just
yeah,
playing. They are built really well. Here's
yeah.
one thing I will say though, and Scotty Gowans has actually come out and said this, and I do kind of agree. Yes, this North list is really good, but they're not young. They have so much
True.
experience. Emma King is close to retirement. Emma Carney is
Can't
close
get a
to
game.
retirement. I know that's what's scary about that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Elise Sharon, as much as I love that she's a relatively
Yeah,
new one, she's not
yeah.
a spring chicken.
No,
Again,
she's
love
not
her to
young.
death. Hope she plays
Yeah.
many, many more years, but she's closer to retirement than the end.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jazzy Garner is already 10 seasons in. How many more seasons does her body have? Ash Riddell, how many more seasons does her body have? Libby Birch, Ferguson, right? Who's even, although she's out
Mhm.
with personal reason, a lot of their best players are late
Yeah,
20s, early 30s. How many
yeah.
more years do they have in them? So, as much as I'm going to celebrate this North team because the North Melbourne Football Club needs some success and they're getting it on the
Mhm,
women's side,
mhm.
not a shot at the men, but just let's be
Love that.
honest. But how many more years can they maintain this before the bulk of their roster, which was Scotty Gowan's built ready for premierships now? There's not many more years left. Three max, in my honest opinion, just because
Mm,
there's only so many more years you're going to get out of Emma Carney. You can tell the game is slowly getting too fast for her. She's still playing
yeah,
good football, but it's
yeah,
getting a little bit faster. The game is
yeah,
is playing more like the men's game than it is the women's, where it's all contest.
yeah,
So I
for sure.
think North need to capitalize on this. I think that's why they made the Sharon trade, because I think they're trying to get at least one more, if not two more
Mhm.
premierships before they realize they know a
Yeah.
good portion of this group is going to retire. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Mhm.
But the end is closer than the beginning. So again, love
Yeah.
North to death. Brisbane, Starcevich, what he does there is incredible. He lost so many players to expansion and has still the Queensland footy. I have to sit here and say I applaud them because
Mhm.
oh my God, what they are doing. Like so many, like the number one overall girl is a Queenslander.
Mhm.
Cannot wait to see Ava Usher. She's going to be
Mm.
incredible. Everything that I read from my draft expert that I go back and forth with, legitimately, she could be the best ever young girl to ever step foot into the AFLW. That's how good she's being talked about. I
Oh,
know it's a
cool.
lot of expectation, but
Mm.
oh my God, does she sound like she is an absolute ripper. Brisbane, I'm loving what they're doing. Again, Brisbane is Brisbane. They're going to be in it when the whips are cracking. I know it. They'll make finals. I know they're just out right now. They'll be in. They'll win some games. They'll get in, and they're going to be an absolute nightmare wherever they are. So I'm not worried about them. But oh my God, North is like that is a good football team, put very well
Mm.
together. They're so much fun to watch. I'm not a dynasty person, never have been. I think dynasty is bad for football, in my personal opinion, because it takes away intrigue and parity.
Mhm. Mhm.
So personally, if they win the premiership this year, then they're going to be on it where I can't cheer for them anymore. I'm honest with people. I've said that numerous times. If they win this one and two in a row, then I'm done. It's the same thing with the Crows. I love the Crows to death, and I know, Coach, you were on that staff when they were winning
Mhm.
so many games. After a while, I can only take so much, and then I want parity. I want parity to take over. So I'm sorry. So from the incredible game that was to what I love, okay, there are times that I cherish ugly, disastrous, well, not
Yeah.
disastrous, but just
The weather.
slog, arm
Yeah.
wrestle football. I love
Yeah.
it sometimes. It reminds me so much of the gridiron game here. And that's what
Yeah.
the Western Derby was at Fremantle
Yeah.
Community Lake Oval as the Dockers continue their dominance over the Eagles by
Mm.
7 points, 23-16. I know the Eagles have not beaten the Dockers. This was an
Mhm.
incredible performance by a young side that I think the reason they got pipped purely and simply the abilities of Turbo through the center. Again, I absolutely love Kiera Bauer. She's one
Unreal.
of my favorite
Yeah.
players. I say this now and I will continue to trumpet this. AFL men's coaches, when Kiera Bowers retires, hire her as a tackling coach because she's one of the best tacklers in the entire competition, bar none. Doesn't matter, male, female,
Uh,
legitimate. Love her to death. And Stannett and this experienced Docker side, Haley Miller, Gabby O'Sullivan, so many experienced players for this Docker side. That is the difference. It is not the fact of more talent on the Fremantle list. I think the lists are relatively even, but as
mhm.
West Coast young, up and coming
Yeah.
talent, Ella Roberts, Lucia Painter, Charlotte
Mhm.
Thomas, Isabel Lewis, they're up and coming.
Mhm.
Fremantle is that grizzled veteran group that have been
Mhm.
playing a lot of football together and playing in wet weather football. When it's not
Mhm.
about skill, it's about grit. That's where it came to play. The Eagles played a great footy. Again, I am loving what Daisy Pierce is doing there. They are one of the
Yep.
teams I want to watch. I love what Daisy's
Yes,
doing. I think
definitely.
she is literally stamping herself as one of the best coaches in the competition, and she's
Agreed.
only a year and a half in. Like that's how
Mm,
incredible I think
mm,
she's done for the West Coast
yeah.
Eagle for that footy club. Dockers just they had the right amount of experience in the right place.
Mm.
I loved this game so much.
One of the biggest um, players for me for Freo is Gabby Newton.
Hmm.
They spit her in the mid at times, but her aerial ability, the physique of her, she's really tall but she's fast and good ball user, and I feel like they've almost got the twins. With Emma O'Driscoll and her off the half back, and that's
Hmm.
been really good for them. And yeah, I just thought they played a more mature style of footy, which we would expect when you compare the lists. And yeah, they and Turbo, once Bowers has got back, I think Freo have just looked, about
Hmm.
100% better than they did before, because she just brings that calmness and that hardness and that drive, because she's a very driven woman. So yeah, no, it was a great game. It was a scrappy game, but it was still a great game to watch.
Yep. No, I some people may think it's weird, but I absolutely love those games. Like
Mhm.
seeing the girls fighting through the rain, the wind, having to
Yeah.
so contested. I don't mind those games. I know
Mhm.
some people, I love the scoring. The men's game put up 100 points.
Yeah,
Sometimes
yeah,
I love a good old-fashioned 50-50 to 52 to
mm,
50 game. Sometimes
yeah,
I'm weird like that. I'm a coach. Sometimes
mm,
I love just seeing two teams just
yeah,
put the footy down, put your head over it, see who
mm,
comes out the
mm,
victor. Absolutely loved it. I thought it was an incredible. Again, Daisy is going to do it. I eventually she's going to get the Eagles over the line. It's going to happen.
yeah,
But
for sure.
the veterans, the I think if this was a dry weather game, I think the Eagles have a chance to win that game. But
Oh, I agree.
the
I
weather
100%
was the weather was an impacter, and then the veteran experience of playing in the wet for the
agree.
girls, I
Yeah,
think was the flip on that. And I know Daisy, if you ask her, she'll probably nod her head and go, veteran team, wet weather football probably helped out
yeah,
Fremantle a lot in
yeah,
that game. So, well, coach,
yeah.
that is all 9 games from last round. Again, a little bit of
Mhm,
everything, but I loved it. Let's move on to the burning questions. I've got some fun ones here, coach, because
mhm,
having a coach who's in the coach's box, I'm gonna take advantage with a couple of these. So first we'll start
mhm,
off as the fan one. There were several upsets this particular round. Was there one
mhm.
that really stuck out to you that happened and why?
Uh, it's a great question. I feel like it wasn't really an upset with North beating Lions, but the dominance of North made it a real upset, if that makes
Mhm.
sense.
Mhm.
Like, so, you know, I feel like that one really shocked me when I saw the
Yep.
scoreline. I didn't watch a lot of it. I only caught a little bit of it, but I never thought that that scoreline would be like
What it
that. And
was.
probably the other one is Port v D's.
Yep.
When I watched that one, I was just like, this is not Melbourne style footy. But they came and Port, to their credit, held on like with white knuckles, but they got there in the end.
Yeah, I would say the same thing for me. Like form, it was because of form, the way Port had been playing and the way Melbourne had been playing. that was the one that stunned me. Was the
Mm,
I watched I was sat down and I watched the game. I knew the result, but I wanted to watch the game, and I was sitting there
mm,
going, everything you just said is true. It's like the D's were not playing their style of football. They were playing Port style and
mm,
getting away with it for the most part, but
mhm,
they really paid for it in the end. But
mm.
again, all plaudits to Lauren Arnell. She did exactly what she needed to do in the coach's
Yep.
box. Again, Melbourne will be kicking themselves because that's a loss that
Mhm.
probably they know in the background they probably should have won that game. Even though it was on the road, that should have been a win. So,
They would
um,
have penciled that as a W on
yep.
their schedule, I'd imagine.
Yep, and I know some people are like, "Well, coach, why wouldn't you say the same thing for the Sydney?" Because I saw the way Collingwood had played. They had played
Yeah,
North earlier in the year. They had been competitive with them for two
yeah,
quarters.
they've been competitive.
I knew
Yeah.
calling and then hearing Jordan Allen was back, Ruby Slice was back. I'm like, oh, that's a couple of really good ends for them. If they play decent football, Sydney's going to be tested. Sydney, I agree with what Kate McCarthy actually said on one of the broadcasters. Sydney's been careening towards a loss the last couple of weeks. They've started
Mhm.
slow. They haven't come out of the blocks. They really have only had like one quarter that's really won them the game. Fremantle, the third quarter was what won them the game. They kicked 5 goals in
Yep.
that one, totally flipped the game. I
Yep.
agree with Kate.
Totally.
I really agree with Kate. Like this was the one game they didn't have that quarter that flipped the game.
Yeah,
They
they didn't.
started
Yep.
to. They started to in that second half. Montana Ham has an incredible goal of the year run from
Ooh.
center half back where she gets three layoffs, including one from Chloe Malloy, kicks the goal. Chloe gets that turnaround goal, and the Swans start to go, okay, you could see the confidence, but
Mhm.
then the Pies come right down and kick a goal right after that. Kalinda Howarth with another incredible goal.
She
And
was
that
outstanding.
and it seemed like all the momentum that the Swans had, boom, that the air was
Mm.
out of the balloon on that one. So
Yeah.
I agree with Kate McCarthy. I didn't see that as an upset. I saw that as kind of the way the Swans were going. They finally got
Mhm.
burned by having a
Yeah.
slow start. So that's
Yeah,
why I
gotcha.
didn't say that one on that one. So all right, I'm gonna let
Yeah.
you brag on this one, coach, because I know you've had the luxury of coaching some incredibly young talents. I know that you've been part of
Mhm.
part of the Woodville West Torrens coaching staff. You've also been helping with the SANFLW with the state league games. So we've seen so many great young players in the comp. As a coach in the
Mm.
SANFLW, how happy are you seeing all these young talents, 18, 19 years old, that you've had impacts on, making big
Yeah.
impacts at the W level?
Uh, just amazing. I've kind of had a think about that, and obviously, the girls that come out of the Eagles program always hold a pretty, significant part of my heart. And so Grace Martin, I'm really happy watching her at GWS. She's really just starting to find her straps and find the ball. And there was a moment late in the game last week against uh, Western Bulldogs, and she just pulled this kick and laced someone out inside 50, and it was like really satisfying to see, what she's doing with herself. Obviously, Sinead Goody's a superstar. She was always a superstar, but the ones that I love are the mid-season draft ones. So Layla Ebert at
Yeah.
Melbourne, I really love that. Because she's come into a side that obviously were a bit hit with injuries and stuff, but she's holding her own and she belongs at the level. And, really nice kid. She was there at state, and yeah, she was just really nice and really deserved to see her there. And Emma Kilpatrick playing
Yeah.
down at Geelong is another one of my faves. She's making her mark down there, and she's really had an impact, and hopefully just continues to skyrocket. And the other one I love is Charlotte Riggs at the Eagles.
Hmm.
You know, those two couple of goals in her first game, and she's just an absolute presence. And I love that Daisy's playing her forward because traditionally she's played as a
Back.
back.
Yep.
But she's like a traditional swing woman. You can put her anywhere, and
Yep.
but I just love her passion, and they're probably the kids that I've really, really loved watching this year. Made an instant impact, with getting picked up as well. Riggsy was in the draft, but Killer and Ebo were, taken mid-season as
Hmm.
injury replacement, and they've just come in and gone whack,
Yep.
and it's a great.
I remember
Yeah.
when I saw both of them get signed. I remember specifically saying in my sample podcast, I was so happy for Layla
Mm.
Ebert and for Emma
Yeah.
Kilpatrick because both had had incredible seasons in the
Mhm.
SANFLW over the last 2 years, and I thought they need to get that shot. And I want to say she hasn't made her debut yet. I'm crossing my fingers, touching wood, and all that. That your former player Christina Lutzi gets a chance
Mm.
to play with the Crows. I know it's not an easy midfield to get into.
Yeah.
I really hope she gets a chance because she was incredible this
Yeah.
season. It was so fantastic to see her get that opportunity, get that call up, and get
Mhm.
that signed with the Adelaide Crows. So like I said, we
Yeah.
haven't seen her yet. Hopefully, I cross my fingers. Like I said, touch wood that we get to see her because she had an incredible season this year, and I hope she
Yeah.
sticks on with the Crows there. So we'll do the other one. This is fun. I want you for one time only is that I'm going to put you as the North Melbourne head coach for
Mhm.
just a second.
Mhm.
How do you keep this group hungry as they seem nearly unbeatable?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I think that he, I think Croc would be having the focus on being the first team to ever go back to back in AFLW. So, I did a few like little bit of looking before, and Brisbane have played in 6 grand finals
Mhm.
out of 8, which is just an incredible like result. Crows aren't far behind with 5.
Yeah.
But North have only played in 2, and the fact that they're sitting where they are with their the healthiness of their list, the dominance of the competition, their percentage with their scoring, so they're not only defensively sound, there's such an offensive power, and I think that you'd just be going, we want to be the first team to go back to back and get on Coach Donny's blacklist. So I can't go for you anymore. But yeah, I think that's what I'd be focusing on, just to really narrow the focus to go, right, let's do this. Let's be the first team and keep that continuity and consistency in how we want to play.
Yep. No, it's one of those. It's not a blacklist. It's just I'm not no longer barracking for you like I used to
Mm,
before you became. It's one of those.
yeah,
I respect you. Like I respect what Doc has
100%.
done at Adelaide. Legitimately, I respect what Stars has done at Brisbane. Croc coming in after they let Gowans go has been incredible. Again, kept the list together that I think was built for that. The thing I find interesting with North is the fact is that it's taken them a while to finally get over that hump because for the longest time
Yeah.
they always fall short in the prelim. They always fall short in the
Mhm.
semifinal. They could never get
Yeah.
to a grand final. So then
Yeah.
2 years ago they get to a grand final and Brisbane just showed the experience of being a team
Mhm.
that's been there over and over and over again. And last year they got over the hump on the road
Mm.
in Queensland and did it in an
Mhm.
impressive fashion. And I'm going,
Yeah.
right now, if we're being 100% honest, North is literally taking the competition. All that times they were doubted, and they're kind of serving it back up to them on a silver platter. Absolutely love it.
Definitely.
Again, as much as I'm not a dynasty person, I kind of want Croc to do it just to kind of
Yeah, I
give
agree.
up yours to the rest of the competition.
Yeah.
Legitimately
Yeah.
want to do that. So it's going to be fun. I just, I'm with you. I just don't see any team being able to beat them unless the Roos have an astronomically bad game. And right
Yeah.
now, I just don't see it. There's just too much experience, too much veteran leadership on that team for them to have that
Yeah.
moment. So
Agree.
that is the burning questions. I'm going to have some fun, coach. We're going to do my team of the week and then we're going to
Mhm.
do power rankings. Since we're 5 rounds in, we'll do my power rankings, my homage to the fourth and long. So, as the
Mhm.
coach that you are, I want to hear what you think of this group I've put together. Like I said, I'm a little bit more focused on goals a little bit, so there could be a few names that are a little wonky, but here we go. Starting in the fullback line, excuse me,
Sorry.
pardon me. Isabel Grant of the Western Bulldogs and Claudia Ganjaka of the Geelong Cats round out the fullback line. On the halfback line, we see Jade Ellinger of the Brisbane Lions, Tilly Lucas Rod of the Hawthorn Hawks, and Emily Pease of the GWS
Mhm.
Giants. Through the center, at the ruck, Alicia O'Dowd, the Irish woman, is our ruck from GWS. Along the wings, this is fun. Two Irish superstars, Deanna Finn of the Carlton Blues and Orla Lally of the Fremantle Dockers will be roaming the wings. Through the center, how about this trio? Kate Hoare of the Melbourne Demons, Anne Hatchard of the Adelaide Crows, and Jazzy Garner of the North Melbourne Kangaroos. On the half
Mhm.
forward line, we have the young superstar Sophie McKay of the Carlton Blues, Norse Blaheen Bogue, if I could say it correctly, and then GWS's Georgia Garnett round out the half forward line. And the full
Mhm.
forward line, you got to have her, Jessie Wardlaw of the St. Kilda
Mhm.
Saints, and
Agree.
Kalinda Howarth of the Collingwood Magpies round out
Mhm.
the starters. On the bench, on defense, Serene Watson of the St. Kilda Saints. My backup
Mhm.
midfielder is Ali Anderson of the Brisbane Lions. My ruck
Mhm.
is Lucy Wales of the Hawthorn Hawks. My
Oh.
forward is Port Adelaide's Indy Tahu. And my
Mhm.
utility, she's been fantastic this year, Ella Roberts of the West Coast
Yep.
Eagles. So a fun round of footy, some incredible talents there. Legitimately, this team that I just put together probably could compete with North Melbourne for a chance at a win.
I agree. No, it's a very, very balanced side. It'd be any coach's absolute dream to walk into a list like that for sure.
Yeah. So again, it's all like the midfield, the three that are on the bench, and then the one on the bench with Ali Anderson, and then Ella Roberts being able to run through. Holy
Yeah.
shnikes, would that be a fun group to coach particular? So all right, we jump to my homage to the power rankings, the first power rankings of the year, and it's really top heavy. It's not exactly the most surprising five here. So we'll start at five, the Sydney Swans. I know they've lost, but four games out
Mhm.
of five, still a strong start to the season. At four,
Mhm.
the Melbourne Demons, a lot like Sydney. Again, four wins, one loss. I know recently,
Mhm.
still strong. I'm going to put the Adelaide Crows at three. They've won three of their
Mhm.
last four. Yes, they've lost two of their first five, but they've been incredible. And like I said, three of their last four wins. The Carlton Blues are number two on the list. Again, 4-1,
Mhm.
only one loss on the year. And number one, wow, what a stretch. The North Melbourne Kangaroos sit atop the power rankings, where I
Yeah.
think they may start gathering dust if they keep going the way they are going. So, all right, coach, let's jump to it. I know we are getting closer and closer. Saturday afternoon footy. I got to remember my
Mhm.
days here because for some weird reason, the men are the only one that get to play prime time on Friday nights for these next few weeks. So let's jump to it. Let's tip round six. I'm very interested. Some interesting matchups here. Let's start off the first Saturday afternoon footy, a fun one at Vic Park as the Hawks come to town to play the Pies. I like this. This is going to be a fun matchup. Who do you like in this one?
I think the Pies might roll on. I think they might, take it up. I don't think Jazz Fleming's 100%. Um, and yeah, like I said, yeah, and we talked about Gilroy. Like, so I think the Pies will have their tails up, and I think they'll get it done.
I will be 100% honest here. When I originally did my tips, I had Hawthorn, but a combination of our talking points, what you just said a little bit too, I'm going to go with you. I'm going to tip the Pies. I think I like what Collingwood has done now, having Jordy Allen back. Ruby Schleicher had a really good game. The Hawks, their scoring troubles concern me a little bit. I'm
Mhm.
not sure if they've really put that pressure that they have. I agree with you. I think we see an upset. I think the Pies make it 2 for 2 on Saturday afternoon footy at Vic Park over a
Mhm.
couple of the higher teams in the competition. So I will tip the Pies on that one. Let's jump to your neck of the woods, Alberton Oval in Adelaide, as Port Adelaide take on the Cats. This is an intriguing one for me because honestly, I think whoever wins this one puts themselves right back in finals contention. Who do you like?
I think the Cats will get it done. I think they have a good balance of youth and older players, older statesmen, and I just I think that game against the D's would have taken it out of Port a lot. So yeah, I'm backing the Cats in, and G. Pressbarkus will be best on ground.
I'm gonna go Port here only because if they were to go down to GMHBA, like if they were to go to Victoria,
Mm,
then I would be 100% with you because tough game and then having to hop on a plane and travel, then I'm with you. The
mm,
fact that they're still at home, I think helps them. The Cats, there's still a little bit of they can have a quarter where they take off a little bit. And with Indy Tahu playing well and the potential of Lauren Young being back, I
yeah,
like that because I think that stretches this Geelong Cats defense because does Meg McDonald come back? Who does Claudia Ganjaka take? Does she take Indy Tahu or does
yeah,
she take the youngster? How does that go? Where there's a few moving pieces that I think Adelaide, Port Adelaide have, I think could give the Cats some trouble. So I'm going to tip the Power in this one, but I think the Cats are still in this with a sniff. This is a
mhm,
coin. This is a 50-50 for me. I don't
mhm,
think either team has a huge advantage either
yeah,
way. The Cats, if they can go forward, dangerous forward line. But I've liked the way Port's played. But I think
yeah,
it's the same way with Port. Port has a very dangerous forward line when it gets there, having Gemma Houghton and potentially
mhm,
Lauren Young and Indy Tahu playing really, really well. So
mhm,
I'm with you on that one. Fun one at Arden Street. Cannot wait for this one. Measuring stick game for the Blues as North host Carlton in a fun one at Arden Street. Tipping North, praying Tasman and really hoping Carlton give them a game because if this gets out of hand quickly, which North can do
yeah.
sometimes, it could be a long day for the Navy Blues.
Look, I really want the Blues to do well, but I think they're going to get a bit of a lesson.
Yeesh. I don't want it to happen, but I
Yeah,
know it could. But again, this is an interesting Carlton team. They've got some experience in some
yeah,
places. I've liked the way they do it. Harriet Cordner has been incredible down back, so it'll be fun to see
amazing.
who does she take Blahin Blog to try to help them out there, or
Mm.
does she take a Kim Rennie or a Kate Sheelor? It'll be interesting how the matchups, how Coach Buck does his matchups. It'll be interesting to see how he
Yeah.
does that
I
one.
I just hope that the Blues don't go into their shell. That's what I hope
Yeah.
that, like,
Don't play
no
not
matter
to
what.
lose. Play to
That's right,
win. If you get
that's
smoked,
right.
it's okay because
Yeah,
you're
just
having a
keep
crack.
playing their way. Keep playing their way,
Exactly.
which will be
It's
a big test for them. But you hope that they
100%.
show. Mm,
100%. Like have a crack. Don't go into shell. Don't play conservative football. Don't try
no,
to only lose by 2 goals. No.
yep,
Go for it. If you lose by six
go.
goals, it's fine. It's fine
Yeah,
because that's what everybody's expecting. Have a
yeah,
crack, punch them in the mouth and let's see what
mhm,
happens, okay? So
yep.
100% with you. Let's go out Frio. Let's back out west. Fremantle Community Bank Oval as the Dockers host the Bombers in this one. Fascinating matchup here. Your thoughts?
Oh, I just can't see Essendon beating Freo. I think Freo are just starting to get a bit of momentum, and because yeah, I forgot that game against the Swans. They were electric for a half and then just got run over in one quarter. And
Yep.
I feel like they learnt a lot from that. And
Yep.
yeah, I think Freo are going to get this one done.
Frio's going to win this one, but I'm going to say this. I think Essendon's a little bit in it because sometimes those wet weather games, they last a little
Mm,
bit longer on your body a little bit.
mm.
So recovery
Yeah,
will
good
be
call.
paramount
Mhm,
for this Docker side. Now, they're going to get a
mhm,
little bit of help with the long travel out west to Perth. So that's, I think, is going to help
mhm.
them. But if Essendon can get up on this side, I think a little bit of wear and tear from the week before could show signs. I'm going to tip
Yeah,
Dockers.
good call.
I think the
Good
Bombers
call.
are in this a little bit more because I think this is a perfect storm for an Essendon upset. But gonna tip Dockers for me. Sydney
Yep.
Derby, Henson Park is gonna look incredible. Hoping we see a lot of people on the hill for this one. Swans,
Mm.
Giants. I'm gonna let you go first, Coach. Swans, Giants. Who do you like in
I,
this
I'm
one?
going to go with the Swans to bounce back. But sorry, coach, I'd like to see GWS win this one, but I think the Swans will win.
I take no offense. I'm going to say it, and I know some Swans fans are going to be pissed. This is going to be a close game. I've very rare, except for the first Sydney Derby, which again, that was one of those. The Swans just had a list that they were thrown together with anything adhesive they could get
Yeah.
together. The Swans Giants games have been close. They've been competitive. They've been tough. They've
Mhm.
had some biffo, and I love
Yeah.
that. I
They
think the
don't like each
Swans
other.
I think the Swans have more weapons than
Mhm.
GWS does, which I think is
Yep.
going to be the one thing. It's Chloe. Can
Yep.
Chloe Malloy get off the cuff? If she gets off the cuff, there's nothing the Giants can do.
Who
Georgia
goes to
Garn,
her?
yeah, yeah, that'll be the big thing. Who goes to her? Because I think with Ash Van Loon and Brianna Terry, Jazz
Mhm.
Grierson, I
Mhm.
think they can handle Georgia Garnett and the forward
Mhm.
line
I
of
agree.
it's Zoe Goldsworthy. Can she get loose? If she gets loose,
Mm.
then the Giants are there. I just
Mhm.
think Ali Morfitt and the depth of the Swans with the talent, I think it's just going to be a little bit too much. But this is going to be close. This is not a 6 goal game. I think this is a 2 to 3 goal game. The Giants, they're up and about with the win. The Swans are kind of down off the Collingwood loss. Can they get up at home? Gonna be fun. Cannot wait for this one. A nice 10:05 start for me on a Saturday night for a Sunday afternoon game. They're
Oh,
always
good one.
fun.
That's
Casey Fields cannot wait for this. Daisy returns, leading her Eagles against the Melbourne Demons on this one. As much as I would love the fairy tale story of the former player giving it to her old side, I just think the D's at home at Casey Fields, the talent, the experience of the D's are going to be too much. But the West Coast Eagles are going to have a crack because Daisy doesn't pull any punches. Cannot wait for this one. I'm angry that this is on the same time as the Sydney Derby.
I think Melbourne will win this one quite convincingly. I think that this will be a little bit of a moment where um, the young Eagles will get monstered a bit by Melbourne because Melbourne will be filthy about
The lost to Port.
losing that one against Port, and I think they'll come out firing. And yeah, I think they'll be dominated by Melbourne.
Yeah, I hope not. I hope it's a cracking game, but I could definitely see it. This next
Mm.
one, I think will be Witten Oval, Duggies, Lions. Lions coming off that tough loss to the to
Mhm.
the North Melbourne Kangaroos. If I'm the Doggies, I brace for a storm because the Lions team, off a loss, they come out angry. I think the Lions win this one and win this one big, even on the road at Witten Oval.
Yeah, see, I think it might be a bit closer. I'm not
Okay,
like Ellie Hampson's out with an injury.
sure.
Um, and she's a really critical part for them, like rolls through the midfield and uses the big body through there. And up front, she's hard to contain. And I'm gonna say that I think the Lions will win, but I'm hoping for a closer game than we think.
I hope so. I always want to. I have a fellow podcaster up here who's a Cats fan, and he said something I 100% agree with, and I continue to parrot it. And I think he giggles every time I do. I go, I want to see my team win, and I want to see 8 other great games. And I will
Yeah,
say that forever. I want to see my
yeah,
team win, and I want to see
yeah,
8 other great games. I hate blowouts. I think they really dampen
yeah,
they dampen not only my reviews, but they dampen the game because I sat through a 200-point win for the Sydney Swans in the men's, and even me in the middle of the third quarter went, I'm bored. Like
yeah.
you would
You
think
get
your team scores 200 points, you'd be
yeah,
up and about.
yeah,
No, I was
yeah,
bored halfway through the third
yeah,
quarter. I hate blowouts. I think
yeah,
I would rather give I would rather die of a heart attack because my team is playing super close football
yeah,
because it's
yeah,
exciting than
yeah,
literally sitting through a game where my team is up 65 in the middle of the third quarter and I'm going, I want to
yeah,
go to bed. Just end this game now.
yeah,
Do we have a mercy rule? Like
yeah,
that's kind of
yeah,
how I approach
yeah.
it. So I
Agreed.
hope you're right, coach. I really do. I want the doggies to
Mm,
be competitive in this game.
yeah.
Um, so I'm 100% with you. RSEA Park, a fun one. Can the Tigers bounce back, pull an upset, or is St. Kilda just too good?
Oh, look, if St Kilda had their worst game of the year, the Tigers might be in it, but it has to be the Saints. I don't think they'll blow them out of the water, but, I think it'll be like the 20-25 type range, but the Saints are playing some nice footy.
Yep. No, I'm 100% with you. I think I think they finally figured out that Jesse Wardlow is a forward, not a ruck, and I appreciate that. And I think that's going to give trouble. Beck Miller, Jesse Wardlow, that's going to be an incredible battle. I just think that there's a few too many. There's a few too many. The midfield battle is going to be fun. Patricios and Smith
Yeah,
versus Ellie
yeah,
McKenzie and Monconti. That's going to be fun.
yeah.
The ruck battle is a kind of a who's who of
Mm,
unknown rucks, so it's going to be a
mhm.
very interesting one. I think Richmond's in it a little bit more, but I think St. Kilda just a little too much talent overall. I think they'll get the
Yeah.
win. Again, hoping Richmond is in this. I really want to see the Tigers get the O out from the W columns, and then at least everybody gets a win. Let's
Yeah.
go up. People's First Stadium, last game of the round as the Suns host the Crows. If I'm the Suns, I hold on for dear life in this one. They've played some not bad football. They got the win a couple weeks ago over GWS, but the Crows are
Mm,
going to come in. They look really good. They're playing really
mm,
good. I'm
mm,
interested to see how they replace Caitlin Gould, but I think the
mm.
Crows still just too much talent.
Yeah, I think the Crows will win. I feel like, and it happened against Hawthorn. I feel like Hatchard will maybe take that spot down front more. She might do
Maybe,
some
yeah.
more, minutes. Like they pushed. Is it time for him to blood Indy Rashid in the middle?
Mhm.
Get her up around the footy and because they've played um, Sarah Goodwin in the midfield this year. So, even though she was electric off halfback last week, but yeah, it'll be an interesting one. But I think the Crows will go okay.
Awesome, awesome. Well, that is it. I'm with you. I think the Crows with this game. So, well, Coach, that is it. That is all 9 games tipped. That is our review done. Always so much fun before we get off the podcast. I know you're in off season. I know you're in off season mode. And again, I want to do this on camera. Congratulations on an incredible season this year. I know, again, it didn't end the way you wanted it to,
Yeah.
but I think the group will learn from this. I had so much fun watching your Eagles play football. You were so much fun. The way you guys play football, it was incredible. So I just wanted to take this time on camera to let you know. Thank you so much for what you have done for the Eagles. It has been incredible seeing the growth of this side. And now all of the teams in the SANFLW have made finals. How
Mhm.
awesome an accomplishment is it for the Woodville West Torrens Footy Club?
Amazing, mate. It was a very great season, and on grand final day, we kind of didn't really show up as well as we had all through the season. And South probably had their best game that
Mhm.
they had all year, which happens. And yeah, they certainly had a bit more experience than us, but we'll take a hell of a lot away from there. And where everyone's chafing at the bit, but we just got to try and pump the brakes a bit and have a break and come back firing, and hopefully we can get straight back into finals. That'd be unreal.
Well, I will tell you this. I said this in the finals review. I said honestly, I think Rick Watts should walk over and shake your hand because what you have done for the competition, because unfortunately this year a few of the teams that we've usually used to seeing up at the top were not there. Norwood, unfortunately, again, a few things personally outside of that didn't have as good a season this year. Glenelg was a little bit down. And for you guys to soar to the top of the ladder and to really be the kind of balance to South Adelaide, I said it to Phil. I said if it weren't for Woodville West Torrens, this would have been a boring season to SANFLW because
Mhm,
I think what Rick has done at South is incredible.
mhm, mhm.
But I think he should
Yeah,
shake your hand because he made you guys made South have to play their best
yeah,
football. They didn't have to
yeah,
get into third gear. So if
yeah.
I'm him, I don't know. I don't know if he did, and I'm not going to ask. I think he should shake your hand because I think you've brought the level of Sample W up a little bit more this year. I cannot wait for next year. Cannot wait
Me
for
either.
because I think you two are going to have some titanic battles. I know
Mm,
our game of the round for every single one of us on that podcast was your qualifying final, where you had the
is it
win with
good?
Claudia O'Neill with that
Yeah,
incredible kick on goal. Still one of my favorite
yeah,
games. I
yeah,
remember watching it live and absolutely losing myself over here when it comes to
yeah.
it. So it was incredible. Again, thank you so much for what you do for women's
Thank
footy, not
you,
only in the sample but all over. And it's always incredibly fun to talk with you. You take time to when I reach out, you take time to Oz, so it's always so much fun. So thank you again, Narelle. It is incredible. So that is going to do it for the end of our podcast. Again, if you like what you are hearing on this from the Assault American, please like and subscribe, and we will be back with more footy coverage very, very soon.